Hello everyone, welcome to Vijayata IAS Academy. This is Saurabh Sharma. Welcome to the current affairs session of 28th of January 2022. Today we have one very important topic of first India Central Asia Summit just concluded, and it was inaugurated by or hosted by the Prime Minister of India. On 27th of January, it was attended by presidents of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Republic of Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Republic of Uzbekistan. Please remember these countries as K2, T2, and U. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. Right? These countries, see, from this section, you might get questions for your prelims, and for the mains perspective, this question is very, very important. And this year, you may find this question in your mains examination, because if the summit is being hosted by, and it is being the first India Central Asia Summit, then definitely it will attract the attention of UPSC to be asked in the mains examination paper 2 for your international relations. Right, so within that perspective, we will be looking into this topic, and first we will discuss what are the general information regarding the prelims examination, and then we'll move towards the mains analysis. Right, so you just have to remember what are the countries, and here just one quick fact is that after 1991 USSR disintegration, all these former communist country or like that of the communist USSR, they got disintegrated and they got separate statehood, like they became sovereign nation, Islamic nation. All are Islamic republics, right? And here India was one of the first non-communist country, because India is socialist in its scope, and it was the first non-communist country to extend diplomatic relations with them or recognition to them. Diplomatic relations or recognition to these countries. Right now, so what is the occasion that why did this summit was hosted by Indian Prime Minister? It is because it was the 30th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between India and Central Asian countries, right? So, and now this summit will take place every 2 years gap from now or henceforth. So this is just a development. Now, looking at the geographical location of these countries, so that you will get a fair idea that what is the points here we have to discuss. So please look at the screen carefully, and here you will see that this is Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and just below Turkmenistan it is Iran. Here it is Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. So Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan are sharing the adjacent boundaries, and in combination Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, all three Central Asian countries are sharing borders with the China, and Afghanistan also shares the border with China, and of course Pakistan is also sharing the border. But this area remains the point of dispute between India and Pakistan. It is considered as the POK. Here Gilgit-Baltistan region is there, and from here only the Chinese-Pakistan economic corridor is passing, which India claims its own land, and Pakistan is illegally occupant there. So from the prelims perspective, if you see that which all countries sharing borders with China from the Central Asian republics. So in Central Asian republics we have 5 nations, that is T2. What are T2? Turkmenistan and Tajikistan. K2 Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and just one U, that is Uzbekistan. So 3 countries are sharing direct borders with the China, which is Kazakhstan, of course, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan from the Central Asian republics, because Afghanistan is making a part of South Asia, not the Central Asian republics. Then Kyrgyzstan is the largest country in the Central Asian republics, as you can see. See, such a massive area Kazakhstan has. Now, this Lake Balkhash, it is in the Kazakhstan region. Right here it is the Aral Sea, and Aral Sea is at the boundary of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. These points are important for your prelims. This is the Ural River, which is falling into the Caspian Sea. The Caspian Sea boundaries shared between two countries, Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan. So Uzbekistan is not sharing any borders with the Caspian Sea. Here it is important, right? Now, same way, Turkmenistan is not having any relevance with the Aral Sea directly or indirectly, right? Now, so the points could be here that the Kazakhstan is the only country from all the Central Asian republics which is sharing its boundaries with the Russian territory, international borders. Here it is Russia, and from here it is Mongolia and China and Russian tri-junction. But this is Mongolian region, and from here the Russian boundary is going towards the eastern part, going towards far towards the Japan side. And here the entire northern region, it is all Kazakhstani international border. Then if this entire gray part here, Volgograd region till Georgia, it is all Russia, and Russia is sharing borders with the Caspian Sea, but it is not sharing any, I'm talking about Russia. Russia is not sharing any borders with other countries other than Kazakhstan in Central Asian republics. None other country than Kazakhstan is sharing borders with Russia, and none other than Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan is sharing borders with China, and no Central Asian Republic country is sharing any direct borders with India or Pakistan. Had this area been officially occupied by India, had this POK issue not been there, then India would have shared borders with Afghanistan from this neck or this small corner, as you can see, this yellow part or whatever color you may call it. So this is generally the prelims perspective part here. And here one more thing, the word Tariq, Tarik. So the Tariq means Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Russia, I for Iran and K for Kazakhstan. So in this manner, you can actually learn that which all countries are sharing borders with Caspian Sea. So Caspian Sea border is shared between Tarik, 5 countries. So which are the 5 countries? T for Turkmenistan. Do not get confused with Tajikistan, because Tajiks are nearby China. Here you can see that China has CHI and here Tajik has this I. So this I can complement each other, and you can learn this trick that I and I are together. So here Tajikistan is sharing borders with China, but Turkmenistan is not sharing any borders with China. However, it is sharing borders with the Caspian Sea. So here it is Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, I for Iran, A for Azerbaijan, not Armenia. Armenia is not sharing any borders with the Caspian Sea. Georgia, again, not sharing any borders because it is all, you can see, it is all Russia. And below Russia, it is this boundary which is coming in the Azerbaijan territory with the capital named as Baku, which is a very famous international tourist destination on the world map. Right, guys? So this is the prelims perspective. Now coming to the main aspect we need to discuss is the Central Asian republics with the India's international scenario we have to discuss. So for this purpose, let me just take you through this map, which is the Central Asian republics map, and here we can see India easily. So if you see this entire map broadly, here you can see this is Caspian Sea. We have already seen the geography of this Caspian Sea, how many countries are sharing. We have also seen the international borders with the China. Then this is Mongolia. This boundary I'm talking about belongs to Russia, and it is going far towards the Japan side. Here it is India. Now friends, one very wise advice and suggestion to you guys, that whenever you are analyzing or studying international relations, make sure that you have the accessibility to the maps. If you look at the maps, you look at the international boundaries, you will get to know and idealize the things that is there any relevance of connectivity between the country, because we have to see all the international perspectives from the Indian side. We are not going to write UPSC of Central Asian Republics, we are going to write UPSC of India. Here India is the central axis between our analysis and within this context. Here we have to see that is India sharing any direct relevance or communication or transportation or connection with the countries we are studying. So here in this context is the Central Asian Republics. So these Central Asian Republics, are they having any direct connectivity with India? If you see carefully, here it is Afghanistan, here it's Pakistan, here it's China, and you see this part till here it is in India or in Indian control of J&K, but this part, had this been this left side, this entire, this let's say hair-like structure we have, it is in the Pakistani occupied Kashmir region, where the Gilgit-Baltistan are the two major regions here lying. And as I said, had it been in India's control or occupancy, then we would have direct access with Afghanistan, and the connection with the Central Asian republics would have been absolutely a cakewalk for India. But the present situation, ironically, is absolutely different from what we are talking about. So that means the countries of Central Asian republics, that means the 5 countries, they do not have any direct linking with the Indian territory. So if we do not have a direct connectivity, that means we are having a very limited scope of trade here, because as you can see, there is no sea connectivity with this region, there is no land connectivity with this region, and if there are air connectivity, of course we have air connectivity, but can you export the volumes of trades with the Central Asian republics through air? No, because it is highly expensive. That will make our exports more expensive and uncompetitive in the international market. So this is the one issue here, that is connectivity. Second is, as I said, international trade. Since we have very limited scope of connectivity, so we are having a very limited access of trade prospects here. Just to quote this fact, India is having nearly or just below $2 billion annual trade with the Central Asian republics. And you can see the countries are so large. The countries have abundance of energy prospect, but India still cannot supply any of the things, especially the pharmaceutical things, to these countries, because they are always in the need of pharmaceutical supplies. Whereas complementarily or simultaneously, we will be looking into this big dragon giant here. The China is having the direct control to the interiors of Kazakhstan, from here to Russia, from here to Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, and from this region to Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. China has this geographical blessings with it, that it has the direct connectivity. Therefore, they are having an annual trade with the Central Asian republics of $40 billion. $40 billion, and by 2030 they are expecting it to be doubled. So look at the gap here. India is only having access to, or India is only being able to exploit just $2 billion scope opportunities here in this region, but whereas China is making a trade of $40 billion, which it might double by to 2030. Right? Next, this Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, this all region, offshore and onshore, both have high abundance of natural gas. In fact, the 4% reserves of world natural gas are lying here in the shore region, and Kazakhstan is having the world's largest natural gas reserves here according to many estimations. But can India exploit this energy potential from this region? Absolutely no, because India has no direct connectivity with this region, whereas China can exploit. And China recently, 2 or 3 years back, made a massive deal of $400 billion investment with Kazakhstan and through Russia. And Russia will moderate that deal, and that supplies will be coming to China, because China is wanting them to be a zero or a carbon neutral country within 2 to 3 decades. And for this ambitious planning and policy, China would require a great uninterrupted access to the energy resources of this region. So hence the connectivity from the energy transportation perspective, India is again lacking. Here I would like to mention the Tapi project. The Tapi project, which is coming from Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India. And in India, it is concluding here at Fazilka in Punjab near Bathinda. So this Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India project is collectively called as Tapi project, which is an ambitious project for supplying the natural gas supplies, uninterrupted supply that will ensure India's its energy security perspectives and potential from the Turkmenistan to India. The scope is that the pipelines will be laid so that this energy transportation can be ensured. Turkmenistan has no problem; it can send, and all the countries have this laying objectives or this responsibility within their lands. But India can do its core, its bit, because at Fazilka it is terminating, and Fazilka is at just the right at the international border with Pakistan. Turkmenistan can do its bit, but Afghanistan and Pakistan is having an issue. Before the Talibanese occupancy of the Afghanistan territory, before 15th of August 2021, the country like India was ready to do investments, make prospects here, so that the Tapi project would get so much of speed. Scope of work will be well established. So within this context, India was about to make good investments in the Afghanistani territories, and in fact it was making the investments. But now all the investments have gone into halts. I would not say that it has gone into vain. No, because Taliban is still looking at the world to make better relations with them with respect to what they occupied this Afghanistani territory in 1996 to 2001. So Afghanistan do not want this Talibani government occupants, they do not want that same mistake to be repeated here in 2021. Otherwise the world will break again the ties with them, and ultimately a collective resistance force will be hitting them back in Afghanistan. So Afghanistan is having an issue because there are Talibanis, and Talibans have not yet gained any form of support and confidence or trust in them from the world arena. So it is an issue. Now Pakistan, again the very notorious cousin of India or sibling of India, that India and Pakistan hardly sharing or have been sharing very scanty good relations among them. So Pakistan would never want that project to have the sustenance over its land, because ultimately it is going to ensure India's energy security. So Pakistan, what have they done? The investments have been highly mirrored, and China indirectly has asked Pakistan not to make these perspectives to be laid down in an efficient or as soon as possible manner. India has extended its offerings, help to lay down this pipeline part in the Pakistani territory, but Pakistan is always denying it. Pakistan has been highly ardent to get this project laid down very well. Here, the scope is that why would these countries, of course Turkmenistan will be selling its gas to India so that they will get revenue. India will get the energy security perspective, hence it is important. But what would Afghanistan and Pakistan make? When such gas pipelines are being laid, so they can also have their access to the gas reserves passing through their territory. That is, at one point it is ensuring the energy perspective. At the another part, it is also fetching them the trading fee or the logistical charges. They can also make the transit fee charged from the countries like India. For example, Afghanistan can charge the fee from Pakistan and India, and Pakistan can charge the fee from India. So in this manner, the countries are not losing anything. They are getting, in the form of transit fee, they are getting some sort of revenue along with the energy security being ensured with this project. But the Tarpi has been at halt because of many issues like Afghanistan instability, law and order situation and problem, Islamic radicalism here, and Pakistan has been highly stubborn in helping India through this manner. So this is a problem. Again, the gas reserves of Kazakhstan can come into India from this region. Let's say from Kazakhstan or through Kyrgyzstan, then to China, and from this region. This western province of China is basically, the majority is the Xinjiang province. This is the Xinjiang province. This Xinjiang province is mostly unoccupied, and the occupied territory here or the community is known as the Uyghurs. UIGHURS. Uyghurs. Please check back the spelling. These Uyghurs are the Chinese Muslim community, and they are not well off. They are not having any fruits of development equally shared with them, because China has always been playing a discriminatory policy against these people or with these people. Hence, this has not been an inclusive part here. So what India has offered, or the potential lies here, that India can also make this arrangement with Chinese counterparts, talking like that Kazakhstan can supply its gas pipeline, and the pipeline can be laid from this region, and it can enter from this Aksaichen part to India. And in the way, or in the process, China can also claim the fee, the transit fee from India, and India is ready to pay, because ultimately energy security is the ultimate game or objective of the developing countries like India, because we are mostly dependent on the coal based thermal power projects, which is not at all good. Again, the hydropower projects, these insensitive geographical conditions in the Himalayan region is making the projects vulnerable, and hence the developmental issues are mostly at compromised state here, and due to paucity of funds. So these pipelines can save India's millions of dollars and billions of dollars even. But China is again not giving that potential and scope, because China is enjoying the direct supply of gases or other natural resources from here. Next is, if you talk about the people to people connection, if you can easily see that the states which are well connected through roads, they have more access and exchange of people for the work, for cultural exchange and other people to people exchange scopes. But do we have the same people to people contact scope here with the Central Asian republics? No, because the road connectivity is a big problem. And here, when the traffic is not that high, so the air services are also expensive. Hence, Indians going to these Central Asian republics and the people from these republics visiting India for the tourism, medical or education purposes or other cultural exchange purposes, it's very countable only. It is not at all good in massive or in a good state of affair. So here, but still India is providing many educational potential and scopes to the students coming from the Central Asian republics, and many students or thousands of students are studying in Indian universities, but India is only sending its people for the tourism purposes, and that is too very less in number. So that is a problem. Then we have this defense ties. Since this region, the Central Asian republics, we are conducting regular exercises like Khanjar with Kazakhstan and other strategic and defense related exercises, so that India and Central Asian republics can have a common viewpoint for the regional stability, common security, and a joint fight or a common voice against the terrorism which is ultimately mushrooming from this region. Because and the instability in this region of Afghanistan and the supply of terrorism from Pakistan, it is making this golden crescent a bad scope, because from here the illegal drug trafficking, human trafficking, the arms smuggling and other sort of or terrorist activities, this is the potential for spreading the bad evils and omen to the countries like India, instability in the Central Asian republics, and hence the law and order and people's lives and the peace prospects are always at stake. So therefore, the defense exercises become so important that India and Central Asian republics share a great mutual trust, interdependence, and coordinating efforts and approach towards one enemy, that is the global terrorism. So therefore, India and these people have a great connection. Next, to make the connectivity easier, we have some aspects here. For example, Ashgabat Agreement that started in somewhere in 2016, where the International North-South Transport Corridor, International North-South Transport Corridor, that is international north from here, this point, to this point, south, international south corridor, that will ensure that India can have the connectivity, let's say from Mumbai to the Bandar Abbas or the Chabahar port. India intended to propose here, and from here two routes are coming up. Number one, that either you can go to Afghanistan through the Dilaram highway or the Garland highway India has built in Afghanistan. We can get access to Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Tajikistan region, and from here further into Central Asia, and from here we can make the road transport or the road trade easily accessible to this region, and from here also we can get an access to the Eastern Europe, that is Ukraine, rather than going from here to this region or all the way around the southern tip of Africa and from Suez Canal or the other side of Atlantic, then to the England side or Mediterranean side. We are entering either to Italy, Spain, Portugal, or the France side, or we are going to United Kingdom. But since that is taking a lot of time, but to save upon the time, this international north-south transport corridor would have been a great potential for the connectivity, and for that purpose only India made a huge investment in Iran's Chabahar port, which was lying somewhere here near to the western boundary, or sorry, the southwestern boundary of Pakistan, and this is the Sindh province of Pakistan, and here it's Karachi, and here it was the Gwadar port. Gwadar port is the one which is becoming the southern end of the Chinese Pakistani economic corridor, starting from the Xinjiang province. And the Xinjiang province, let's say it is starting from here, this region, so this is going through the Pakistani occupied Kashmir, and from this part it is going to the Gwadar port. With Gwadar port had just not more than 60 or 70 kilometers difference, or let's say 100 kilometers distance to the Chabahar port, which was strategically important for India, because India could have sent their goods from Mumbai, let's say, or the Kandla port or other ports on the western coast to the Chabahar port, and from here through the road they could have passed through Iran to the Afghanistan Dilaram highway, and from here the Garland highway was always there, already there, and from here we could have got access to these countries, and easily we could have gone to Central Asian republics, and after paying the road taxes and whatsoever the transport logistics fees or the passing transit fee, we could have easily got access to Russia, and then to Ukraine, Georgia, Romania, Belarus, Greece, Turkey, wherever you want, because this is considerably a plain region, not that mountainous. It is motorable in nature. Again, we could have also used the Bandar Abbas of Iran, which is somewhere here. So we had this access to two international ports, two busy ports and terminals, but that could all went into vain, because Chinese aggression in this region and China Iran change in equation. Iran actually took back the rights of Chabahar from India in year 2020 during the COVID period time. This news was very, in the first wave this news was on very peak, and Iran said that India has been delaying in execution of the or implementation of the projects, therefore they broke off the ties with India. So India actually occurred huge losses by making investments in Afghanistan, but I would say that India has been building a goodwill here, a good image with the people of Afghanistan, because Taliban has no way then to make good promises and improvement in the, if they want to rule this country of Afghanistan, if they want them to be recognized as an ideal form of government or ideal government runners in Afghanistan, then they should respect the people's human rights, people's choice there, and the world can only appreciate in that manner. And ultimately, India has been sharing a great deal or relations, personal goodwill with the people of Afghanistan, and India is still sending the humanitarian aids in the region. So that goodwill India has been building since decades, that will be exploited when the right time will come. So I believe that it has been a back-end investment India has made in that region. So these are the broader perspective we have to look this area. So if I give you in a nutshell, that if I give you that what sort of thing is we have to study here. So first thing is that the Central Asian Republic is having a great geostrategic importance here in this region, and the this geostrategic importance of Central Asia is that Central Asia is strategically located or positioned, as we have seen, and it is an access point between the Eastern Europe nations and Asia, and offer extensive potential for trade, investment and growth, defense ties and energy potential, right? And since Central Asia is not an immediate neighbor of India, as we have seen through the maps, so it is not being an immediate neighborhood, so therefore it doesn't share any boundary with us. So right, so there has been an issue of connectivity between the two regions because of paramount importance this region might give to India once they are connected, right? Now this region, from energy point of view, it is absolutely important that it has great resources like crude oil, natural gas, gold, copper, uranium and iron, aluminium. We have seen that it is important here, and energy is the most important area of cooperation that could be between India and Central Asian republics. For example, because Kazakhstan is one of the first countries with which India launched civil nuclear cooperation, and it has been supplying nuclear fuel to Indians nuclear plants since 2010. Important here because India, not being a member of the CTBT or the NPT, so many countries have been highly restrictive to supply uranium and other fissile materials to India, because India has not been a signatory. But the world is slowly and gradually establishing this trust with India, that now they are ready to see the image and the maturity of India within this context, like Canada, Australia and many South American countries are making the supplies agreement with India, and Kazakhstan from the Central Asia has been the first of the countries since 2010. Now, as I said, the Tarpi Project, a trans-country or trans-international boundary natural gas pipeline from Caspian Sea region, Turkmenistan to India through Afghanistan, Pakistan, is an important connect for the energy supply, so that India can exploit the energy rich regions of Central Asia, because India is an energy starved and energy looking country for its energy security, because developing nations are always wanting great supply and interrupted supply or regular supply of energy for their power generation, for the development, for agriculture, for medical field and for every single thing. Now the vast hydrocarbon fields, both onshore and offshore, we have already seen in the Caspian Sea, that is home to around 4% of the world's natural gas reserves and approximately 3% of oil reserves it has. So India is definitely looking forward to that, right? Now talking about the security importance of Central Asia, right? Here, this region is located close to the conflict prone areas. For example, you can see that ISIS is not very far from there. For example, Afghanistan instability is not too far. Pakistan being a great supplier of terrorism to the world, it is not that far here. So it's basically there are very high chances that the security threats might transform from this region to the Central Asian republics. And trust me, the level of development and the standard of life in the Central Asian republics are so sensitive that the terrorism will not find any delay to have its feet extended or settled in the region. I tell you. And if that is the situation, then India will lose a great opportunity to have established any connectivity with this region, and it will be under the bad omen before India could reach there. So to tackle the challenge of terrorism, narcotics trafficking, drug trafficking, arms smuggling, human trafficking, and whatsoever, India needs a great important cooperation with these people in this front. And this religious extremism, fundamentalism, and terrorism continue to pose challenge, as I said, to Central Asian societies. So the entire region's stability depends upon India's proactive approach within this context. This is why, as now you can connect that why Prime Minister Modi has been so, or whosoever the Prime Minister is, Central Asian or Connect Central Asian policy has been a great initiative from the Indian side since 2012, and India is absolutely looking towards the Central Asian Republic under the extended neighborhood policy. So India take the Central Asian region not just as in the vicinity, rather India takes it as its neighborhood, and India and its neighborhood is a specific topic in the Union Public Service Commission's syllabus. Right now, the Connect Central Asia policy, if we see, the Central Asian region is considered to be the part of India's extended neighborhood due to increasing presence of China. As I said, that $400 billion investment in Kazakhstan and other trade deals and other influence of China through the blank check diplomacy, what China is using there in the region, it is making an influence in the region, and China would never want that India should make an entry within this area. So the political, social, cultural, economic front, India has to bang on these or make immediate ties with the countries. The primary goal of this Connect Central Asia policy was reconnecting with the region, which has a long shared history with India, and history is a common fundamental element that could combine India and the Indians, because we have been sharing the connectivity since the time Aryans came to India, and after that in medieval period when so many Mongols, Turks, and other people came from the Amodarya region. They all have been coming through these regions only. So India is sharing a great historical legacy with this nation. So there is a tie, there is a connection, there is sentiments and emotions, historical that parameter that can be exploited well here. And the key areas where India can actually contribute is economic cooperation. India can look at this front, strategic cooperation, regional connectivity, we can see information technology investment, pharmaceutical industries, medical aid, people to people contact, and cooperation in regional groupings. Here we can see that India's role is absolutely important within this region. Now coming to the security and defense. Security stability is not important for Central Asian republics only, but for India's imperative or India's interest, it is also important that these people should remain always in peace, and law and order stability is absolutely mature in this region. So Central Asia comprised of extended neighborhood policy, it deserves much greater attention from India, what India has been giving it so far. And India and these Central Asian republics or countries have shared a common interest of stability in Afghanistan, a common vision of counter-terrorist activities, and joint efforts against these areas. So here Khanjar, we have seen that Khanjar is a joint military exercise between India and Kyrgyzstan, and Kazand is annual joint military exercise between India and Kazakhstan. I'm sorry, in the I think previous part of the video, in the same video only, I in place of Kyrgyzstan I used Kazakhstan in context of Khanjar. I'm sorry about that. So and now also the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement. Many Central Asian republics are having the observer status, and India is also having this observer status. But here India can see that the stability of Afghanistan, issue of Taliban, and other mutually benefit cooperation or agreements or negotiation points can also be brought into the Shanghai Cooperation Agreement or this SCO forum, and here it is sponsored by China, and China also being a member. So the collective front can be made against China, and China can be pressurized to have our talks in front of the Chinese policies and government so that they can actually make a balance with it. Now the development, if we talk about, so the development in between India and Central Asia has focused on line of credits. India has opened the line of credits for many countries there for like say $1 billion, $2 billion, because India has to show its soft image to them. India is now offering the training programs under the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, that is ITEC program, which started in early 90s. They continue to flourish in the region, and many citizens of these Central Asian republics have taken the benefits of it, and that has reflected a great and strong image from Indian side to these region. Grants we have been giving to Tajikistan that have included funding to rehabilitate and modernize the Varzo 1 hydropower plant in Tajikistan through the Indian public sector units, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, that is BHEL, and National Hydro Power Projects cooperation. And India has focused on providing basic training and skill development to the locals through tool room training centers, through video conferencing, telemedicine, teleeducation, and the Bollywood as the soft image of India has been doing wonderful job there, and that is bringing these people in awareness of India's culture. And that's how the Indian culture, which is full of music, food, enjoyment, fun, smile, laughter, and these things are conveying the message that Pakistan is not making a great a rational claim against India, whereas India is someone which is India is a society, or a society of people who are welcoming in nature, and we believe in the inclusive nature that has been reflected through our Bollywood creations. Right now, the trade and investment potential, if we talk about the IT sector, pharmaceutical sector, tourism sectors, and the energy and other business related sectors, we have been making extended investments within the region, and Kazakhstan is India's largest trade and investment partner in Central Asia, right? And this people to people contact has always been a central axis of our relationship basis. Connectivity we have talked about, this international north south transport corridor, and this ship, rail, road transport we have been looking forward to. Ashgabat agreement, where India, Iran, Kazakhstan, Oman, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan creating an international transport and transit corridor facilitating transportation of goods between Central Asia and Persian Gulf, and the agreement that came into force since 2016, the Ashgabat agreement. But again, all these projects are on halt because of the equation changing in the Afghanistan region, Pakistan urgency, and some bitterness in the relationships of India and Iran because of the entry of Chinese and Chinese influence indirectly within this region. So the challenges we have seen that there are some, if we summarize here, lack of direct access and connectivity has been the great challenge. The unstable situation of Afghanistan has been a great challenge. Then Chinese presence of Silk Road and Economic Belt Initiative of China has been making a very negative presence in these region, because under this Silk Road and Belt or Economic Belt Initiative of China is making undue or taking undue advantages by making investments in the region, by giving the blank check, and this is called the Chinese blank check diplomacy. India's role in Central Asia is restricted by the involvement of major power in the region, and now some equation between Russia, China, and Pakistan are changing, and they are coming closer on the defense ties, defense exercises. So therefore it is not in favor of India, and India's presence is a bit challenged here in the Central Asian Republic region. The Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India Tarpi project is on halt because Pakistan is ardent in getting the project done, and the growth of radicalism, the way this sporadic growth is being extended to the Central Asian republics, and the suspicion India is having, that is again that might turn youth anytime, because the poverty, the unemployment, the other issues in in Kazakhstan and other Central Asian republics are not favoring India, and the scope and political stability is absolutely important for India, right? So this adequate attention needs to be given on all the bits of what we have discussed here. I know this video has been an elaborative one, but it is needed, because if you have seen this video, so you can always tackle any question you might get in your exam from any perspective, from any area or any angle. You can put your views and opinions and that is why I took an elaborative approach for this topic. Thank you so much.